So this is like Carrie.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, a lot actually, yeah.
Why are you so oppositional?
Yeah.
Where did that...
You.
A bit. Oh yeah, you're correct.
My
You are
face
unbelievable.
is
I can't
What is she
believe
doing?
this.
It's not about you, it's not about you, it's
feel
about
like I'm a
Cordelia.
combination of Cordelia and this invisible girl. Can't believe I'm going to have a Chris.
Look.
I said learn,
Listen,
didn't I?
learn.
Yes.
I mean, she needs to be a little bit less cryptic.
Just a few minutes.
You should be grateful. I mean, people who pass you in the street are going to remember you for the rest of their lives.
Charm your way out of this. Isn't that what you think?
I see right
Oh.
I think Chris McDonald is a really good actress.
She's better than I thought she would be.
As opposed to him.
But no, look, he's doing better today.
No, he's not.
He hasn't had to say much.
Yes. He still looked a bit baffled when he walked in there, though.
There's one thing I really didn't factor into all this. You're thundering loony.
That's good graphic.
Yeah.
But never on the original. This is a much better version to watch.
Look at that individual hair that you can see in HD.
Shh, both of you.
It's true though.
Where were you 10 minutes ago when she was playing surgeon?
I'm sorry, we came as fast as we could. We'll take it from here on. Come on.
You can hear her?
We can rehabilitate her.
In time, she'll learn to be a useful member of society again. Oh, and have a nice day.
That's the thing from the cards, right?
How do you mean?
No,
Tim,
Have a-
are you done
have a nice summer.
Oh.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what's next.
Do you know?
No.
You're not hanging with these losers, are you?
Are you kidding? I was just being charitable, helping them with their fashion products.
She's not quite there yet.
That's social
No.
vulnerability.
Okay, class, let's get started. Everybody turn to page 54 of your text.
Cool.
Oh my god.
So
Pause. What did it say?
Assassination and infiltration.
So good.
Okay, so what did you think?
I like the fact that there's obviously like a big story going on with this that's like going to be, I assume, in the last episode as well.
Oh, what do you mean? What big story?
Like that with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I am a spoiler-free person these days. I move beyond those sort of things. So, did you like the episode?
As an episode, I loved having loads of Cordelia. But I felt it didn't reach the heights that it could do, like Nightmares, for example.
Because
I think it had lots of like ideas and then didn't really follow through on anything. I don't know what I mean really.
Ashley, what did you think?
Well, I like this episode because I felt like the message that it carried about how people treat each other being often like worse than something fantastical or demonic is really, really important. And but the other thing what I was saying earlier was, and what I would say is I think that episode had a lot of a woman in it. So the episodes I've really liked so far, I think have had like a woman writing it or like being really heavily involved in it, like Witch. So when I did my research, I found out that a woman like wrote or co-wrote that. My favourite ones have had a woman involved in it, and I think this one might have a woman involved in it too. Because it's just a very... Because it says something about the human condition, and I think women are generally very good at writing about that.
And for me, watching it again, I was able to see this, but if you've read or seen The Merchant of Venice, at the beginning in Miss Miller's lesson, where they're talking about the pound of flesh that Charlotte wants, well, that's then mirrored in the fact that Marcy wants her sort of pound of flesh, and that in the much of it, it's a moral thing about whether, well, does he in the play, does he deserve to do that because he's been wronged, or is there a line? And when Buffy says, well, actually, you're a loony, Marcy, that's the same thing that happens in Merchant of Venice. So they're like, look,
he goes too far.
You're too far. Like he doggedly wants his pound of flesh, even when they offer him an alternative. And I thought, watching it again, I was like, oh my god, that's so good. Like that washed over me the first time.
Yeah.
Well, it's a shame to me that Clea Duvall only really got one scene.
Yeah,
because most of the time she was invisible.
Yeah,
and then you heard her voice in one of the scenes.
Yeah,
and that was it.
I love the episode as well because Cordelia is one of my favourites, and that scene where she's talking to Buffy and that was a great scene because it finally gave us some insight that actually we were right in what we thought, in that she is more than an airhead, which you alluded to with the work she was doing in class and stuff like that. She actually is a thinker, but there's reasons why she might
be a bitch.
Exactly, yeah.
You can be clever and be a bitch. In fact, I think there's probably a correlation.
Yeah, she's very bright.
A positive correlation. I mean, like between being a bitch and being clever.
Being a Machiavel. So she's managed to get herself to the top of the train because she's bright. If she was completely dumb, she wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Tonally, I thought it was very similar to Nightmares, actually, in that it seemed like there was a persistent problem that they had to solve.
And it was a full-on team effort.
For the first time, actually.
Which Nightmares was as well, to an extent.
Because Angel got involved. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I almost want to say that, I don't know quite how to say this, but the story itself was so good in that episode, like as a self-contained story. It almost could have been, you could place it in lots of different contexts. You could place it outside of Buffy. You could make it like a standalone episode of like lots and lots of different things.
Yeah.
Because the actual core of the story itself was so good.
I think I've worked out what is the what I mean by half ideas. It's not half ideas. It's that it didn't have a big climax.
No, that's true. That is
true. And
yeah.
I would say that's possibly because it's the penultimate episode of the season.
Yeah.
So it's a nice,
I'd still like to see something climactic at the end of the episode, even if it's leading into something else.
But that maybe it's a good example of where like Buffy doesn't need to be like highly dramatic or scary. Like the characters themselves are good enough to carry a story which doesn't really have much to do with like the wider Buffy universe. And maybe that's the first time we've seen that happen actually. Like it's just been a very well written maybe because you mentioned this, like because it's got like classical tropes to it as well.
And it also
it's really strong.
Another reason for the good writing is that Buffy throughout alludes to that she was once the Cordelia of her school. She was popular. So that feeling about loneliness is shown in 3 different ways. Buffy's, Cordelia's, and then the ultimate one, which is where literally nobody sees you, was really good, I thought. And I like the FBI twist at the end. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, because that reminded me of 2 things. It reminded me of... Do you remember R.L. Stein books?
Yeah, Goosebumps.
So that's the kind of thing that would happen in a Goosebumps or an R.L. Stein...
Or Point Horror.
Point Horror! It's a point horror story that ends a bit like an episode of... It's like how Alex Mack ends.
The Secret World of Alex
Mack. Because
I see that.
Well, you missed out, actually, because it's a very good programme. Larissa Oleynik was very good as child. But yeah, I would say, for me overall, really well written, really well performed, good characterisation. I agree with you, not the most exciting episode, but just really well done. Well done.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to this episode, like, when we first started to do this, because I think it's a good example, just a good episode that doesn't actually have any massive standing within the whole, but...
How many stakes do you guys give it?
No, I give that 7.
I give it 9.
6.
So together...
22.
Yeah, that's a pretty good score. We've had worse.
It's on our higher end. I think it's on our higher end.
Definitely.
I reckon 21 is about our average.
Yeah.
So 22 is just above.
I think that was a really nice episode, actually. Yeah, good.
I think that might be the first time that I've been like the low marker of the 3 of us.
Maybe.
I don't know. But
No, you're pretty high usually, I think.
But yeah, but that's what I'm saying about like maybe I need to like having watched now almost the whole series. I might like it might help me to recalibrate my scoring a little bit.
Yeah.
Now that I've got context for what I feel is a good episode, because that I think we each find something different that we like about each episode, and it's interesting that like we've had one episode where we were like we both hate that episode, and you were like, oh, I quite like
the puppet
like
one.
the puppet, yeah.
We didn't like the puppet show, guys.
So I think I might go back and have a look at my scoring.
Great.
Well, have a great summer, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a nice summer.
Have a nice summer.
Have a
everyone.
nice summer.
Bye.
Bye.
Should I
Can you
press stop? Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, why don't you
reach.
press stop?
You're the closest!
Let's not have another argument. This was the season finale.
Very oppositional today, aren't you?
Oh.
I mean, we asked you to press stop and you
I
did.
don't know what the stop button is. Which one
It's
is
a
it?
stop.
Does it say stop recording?
Yes.
People are paying for this.
Yeah, but they're getting